you need to stop thinking like a job seeker and you need to start thinking like a problem solver. Now, this is a harsh truth that everyone needs to hear, but nobody in the sports industry cares what you can do. They care about what you can do for them. Sports organisations are a business first. They are hiring people to solve a specific problem, which means they don't care how much you want it. They don't care how much you love sport. If you can show how you can contribute to the strategic plan of an organisation, you're going to get wanted. Hello and welcome to the SportsGrad Podcast, the ultimate guide to make it in the sports industry. Brought to you by Deakin University, home to the world's #1 sports science school. My name is Reuben Williams. I'm an ex-Cricket Australia employee who started SportsGrad to help others find their dream job in sport. And now it's become my own dream job. I used to love working in sport, but now I get an absolute pleasure out of helping other people live their dreams in the sports industry. If this is your first time listening to the show, I'd encourage you to scroll back through all the catalogue of episodes and find someone you like the look of, listen to the episode, and you'll hear just about everything they did to make it to their dream jobs. This includes people working in Formula One, at the Olympics, at the NFL, the NBA, cricket in Australia, cricket in India, the Premier League, you name it, we've probably covered it off on the show. So go nuts on that. Now, this year, I'm going to be doing a new type of format for the show, and that is it's going to be me just riffing on a particular topic. So if there's something you want me to talk about and need help with, let me know. Send me a message on LinkedIn or reach out on Instagram and let me know what is top of mind for you at the moment, and I will try and help you through the podcast. But today, I'm going to share an episode on something that I think everyone needs to hear. Now, this is a harsh truth that everyone needs to hear, but nobody in the sports industry cares what you can do. They care about what you can do for them. And if you can't prove how you solve their problems, then you're not going to get hired. Now, the reason why this matters is because it is probably the #1 mistake that job seekers make, and that is focusing on themselves and what they have done and all the great things in their resume that's probably 4 or 5 pages long, rather than focusing on the employer's needs. Now, the key to breaking into sport is shifting that mindset from, not what can I do, not what can, this job give me or, everything that I've done. It needs to shift towards how can I help the sports industry. And so what we're going to cover off in this is why this is true in the sports industry. I'm going to share some examples on how people got hired and hopefully help you reframe your job applications, your LinkedIn profile and interviews to allow you to get hired in sport. So, now, to kick things off, one of the realities of the sports industry is that sports organisations are a business first. Now, they're not just going to go out there and hire people out of generosity. They are hiring people to solve a specific problem, which means they don't care how much you want it. They don't care how much you love sport. It is not going to appeal to them. They are more interested in how you can help them grow as a business. For example, a club doesn't need another passionate sports fan. What they need is someone who can sell sponsorships, engage fans, or drive revenue. That is probably the biggest mistake I see people make, saying, I love sport, rather than showing how much value they can add. And another mistake they make as well is listing their skills without showing the impact. So, for example, I come across a lot of resumes and they say, look, I know Photoshop, rather than, I design a campaign and increase ticket sales by 20%. This is what you want to be showing. So I remember way back in the very first YouTube interview I did was with a guy called Jim Kaler from the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'll never forget this. He said to me, when I see the super fan walking through the door, I get nervous in a hurry. Now, he worked with LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavs for about 9 years. And he saw just about every type of person who wanted to get close to LeBron. And they were very easy to spot from a mile away. Whereas on the flip side, the ones we loved, the ones who cut through the crowd, the ones who got jobs were the ones who showed up saying, hey, I designed a campaign and increased ticket sales by 20%. Let me show you how I can help the Cavs increase ticket sales by 20%. So, for example, Manchester United, they're not going to hire someone who likes football. They're going to hire someone who can generate millions of dollars through global partnerships. Same with, say a data analyst in the NBA. They don't care that you like numbers. They care if you can turn data into actionable insights that improve team performance. So you need to make sure that you get that into your head, because Every single role ladders up to the strategic plan of an organization, which has been set out by some very smart people who know what they're talking about. For the most part, there are some people who might argue with that statement. But the strategy of an organization is put in place for a reason. And every single person on the org chart is there to ladder up to the strategy. So there is no role that is not there to serve a specific purpose. Hey, quick one. Have you got your eye on a future in sport? If you're ready to transform the industry, then perhaps get ready to study with Deakin and prepare yourself to redefine what it means to work in sport. That's what I did, at least. Deakin School of Exercise and Nutrition Sciences is ranked #1 in the world. Pretty cool, hey? So if you want to turn your passion for sport into an impactful career, get ready to push the limits of exercise science, sport coaching, sport development, sport management, nutrition sciences, physical education, and more. You can do it all at Deakin. Apply now and study at Deakin University. If you can show how you can contribute to the strategic plan of an organization, you're going to get wanted. And so that's what we're going to show you how to do that today. So I'm going to show you how you can prove your value. So first thing you need to do in terms of proving your value to an organization is step one, you need to identify what the needs are of the job. So that's when you go through an activity that I like to call dissecting the job description. And that is specifically to find out what are the needs of this role. And then what you're going to do is basically show how you fit those needs. So to find out what those needs are, you can do one of two things. Number one, you can read the job description and literally highlight how many times does it say project management or communication or sales or, data analysis, whatever the skill is that they need the most, literally count it down, keep a tally. Or if you want to go into, if you've got an online version of it, literally copy paste the job description into ChatGPT and say, hey, I want you to act as a recruiter. Please dissect this job description for me and give me the top 3 skills that this job is looking for. And now you can work towards filling those skills that they're looking for. The other way you can go about identifying the needs of a specific job / role in the industry is networking. So simply asking people in the industry, what challenges are you facing? And, what are you looking for at the moment? So that means when you go into reframing your pitch, and your pitch can come through a number of different avenues. Number one is you can wait for a job application to pop up and you can put it in, and then you might get into an interview round. Other way is you can go out there on LinkedIn and pitch yourself. And a third way is you can network as well. There are more ways to pitch your work than to just wait for an opportunity to come to you. So when you get to any one of these different mediums, instead of saying, hey, I have 5 years of experience in marketing, what you want to say instead is, hey, I helped a local club increase membership by 40% through digital marketing. Another example, hey, instead of saying I am proficient in Excel, say I built a player performance model that helped coaches make data-driven decisions. One of the absolute gripes that I have on resumes is when people say I am proficient in Microsoft Office. Really? That is a baseline. That's the minimum standard. That's not going to separate you from the pile. When jobs in sport have about 500 people applying for them, and you're using space on your resume to say, I'm proficient in Microsoft Office, that kind of that indicates where your standards are at for yourself. And so if I'm reading that, I'm thinking, gosh, if this person's trying to make themselves known to me and they think the way to impress me is by saying, I know how to use PowerPoint, Word, and Excel, it's I expected that for this minimum. Show me more about the projects you've worked on. Show me more about the impact you're having. So that's how you can start to flip it around. Now, for example, a couple of people who have done this really well. So one way you can do this is by creating what I like to call a DIY internship, where basically you create a role for yourself. So any type of work that you want to do, it can be done somewhere. I guarantee there is an organization out there who needs what you are offering. You just have to go and find them. So let's say, for example, there's someone who I'm working with at the moment in the SportsGrad Method Accelerated program is a guy called Tom Blazek. He's up in Brisbane looking to make a jump into athlete wellbeing, and he's got no experience in this space before. He's done the education, he's worked as a teacher in the past, he's about 30 years old looking to make a career change, but he doesn't actually have a line item on his resume that says, welfare officer in sport. So rather than sit in his hands and wait for it to come to him, he's gone out there to create it himself. So what he did is we helped him find a grassroots club up in his, not even grassroots club, like semi-elite club up in Queensland near his area. And what we did is we worked on how can he pitch himself to the club to create an experience for himself. So what he did is he went to, I think it was the Sherwood Magpies, and said, hey, what are you doing in the athlete wellbeing space? And of course I say, oh, well, nothing, not much. And Tom goes, well, like, look, these are the benefits of having an athlete wellbeing strategy in your club. Here's how it can improve your players. And importantly, here's how it can improve performance. Because the number one thing that a president, a coach is looking for is more wins, more premierships. And if you can literally tie the work that you're doing directly to more silverware, they're going to listen to you. As soon as you start talking about other stuff that, is kind of around the point, beating around the bush, you're going to lose interest. But if you say, hey, coach, I can help you win premierships. The way I can do that is helping your players be more mentally strong, more mindful, more present at games, whatever it might be. Then they're going to listen. And they're going to say, cool, well, we want an advantage over every other club. Here's a way we can do it. And you, Tom, you've just come to us and presented us an opportunity to get better, to improve our players. And the fact that you're willing to do it for free this season is amazing. So sure, here are the keys to, the club. Get involved, do your thing, and let's chat at the end of the season and see how we're going. Another thing that is really important with Tom's pitch as well is actually going in and saying, what does success look like? Because for Tom, what he's trying to do is create an example of work that he can use in the future too. So he might go in there and say, or before he approaches the club, he might have his own, athlete wellbeing strategy that he wants to implement, because in, 3-4 months time from now, he wants to be able to turn around to the Brisbane Lions or the Broncos and say, hey, look, I developed an athlete wellbeing strategy. I implemented it at this club. As a result, these players achieved these results, these players did that, etc. And as a result, I took some anecdotal feedback at the end of the season. They said they felt happier coming to play football. They felt happier at work. They felt happier at home. And as a result, the team was winning and we went on to win a premiership, whatever it might be. So you want to start with the end in mind. So for example, if you were to flip that to a commercial example, you might say, cool, I actually don't have any examples in my resume where I've gone out there and sold sponsorship. So maybe you want to go to maybe you think, well, if a commercial job comes up at the Sydney Swans Football Club in 6 months' time, I better have an example on there that proves I can sell sponsorship. So, that's where you might work backwards from being able to share the example of selling $50,000 worth of sponsorship and increasing the overall revenue of the club by 50% in 1 year. Like, that's an amazing example to share. But most people think, oh, I can't do that. It's too hard. It's like, you can create anything. If you really want to do it, you can go and find the club who needs a sponsorship manager. And I guarantee you there is money out there that people want to spend. You just need to work out how to get it out of them, or how to make them see that, it's a worthwhile investment into this club. Because if you can do that at the grassroots level, the Swans are going to look at you and be like, that is incredible. Like, come and do that for us. So you want to start to flip. If you want opportunities, you need to start flipping that conversation in your mind of, when's someone going to give me an opportunity, to I'm going to go out there and create an opportunity. Another person who did this really well is a guy called Binuk Kaditawaku. Been on the podcast in the past, roughly episode 138, 142, I believe. And he studied law. He did a 5-year law degree, but 6 months into the law degree, he decided, I actually don't want to be a lawyer. I want to be a data analyst. I want to work with professional teams and use data to improve performance. So he, during his, if a law degree wasn't hard enough, he spent the majority of his time teaching himself data analysis. And as a result, during the 4.5 years he had left, he, on top of his law degree, he created different programs and algorithms to analyze an AFL list. And what he did is he approached the Adelaide Crows and said, hey, this is who I am. This is what I've been doing in my spare time. I've got a better way of analyzing your list data for you. Here are some changes that I recommend making that can improve the list of the Crows. And they gave him a job straight away. Why? Because he solved a problem. He didn't come in and say, hey, I love the Adelaide Crows. Please give me an opportunity. He didn't beg for it. He didn't say, oh, I've wanted this my entire life. Please, someone give me an opportunity. He came in there and solved a very real problem. And look, the reality of that situation is it took him 4.5 years to figure out how he can solve a problem. But now he's gone straight to like head of department at an AFL club. And since then, he went on and worked with the Duke University college football team, which if you aren't aware of them, are huge in the USA. But that is the opportunity that is on offer for people who proactively go out and create an opportunity for themselves or who can identify problems. So what this means for your career is that you need to stop thinking like a job seeker and you need to start thinking like a problem solver. So that means like, anytime you see someone on LinkedIn, they're posting about what they're up to. Anytime you catch up with someone when you're networking, rather than say, hey, can I have a job? Or just constantly saying, hey, can I have a job? Can I have a good job? Just constantly think about how you can solve someone's problem. So like, for example, you might ask someone like, what's the biggest challenge your team or department or you is currently facing? And, a busy manager might say, oh, well, I just don't have time to do X, Y, and Z tasks. Like, I'm just trying to keep my head at the high level and do all these like strategic items, but I keep getting bogged down the day to day. So then you could just go to them and say, well, look, would it make your life easier if I did those 3 tasks for you? You don't have to pay me. I just want an opportunity. I'm happy to make your life easier. In return, I would just appreciate, a shot. And so then you make it very easy for them to say yes. And so one easy way you can look at this is think about how can you take the bottom 10% of a job description off somebody's plate? Because every single job has about 20 different tasks that they need to do. The bottom 10% is the part that people hate and don't want to do. So if you can find someone who is willing to handball that to you, then you can create an opportunity for yourself. And the way to figure that out is literally ask them, hey, what is the bottom 10% of tasks that are not getting done in your day? And just say, I'm happy to do them for you. And you make it very easy for an opportunity to get handballed to you immediately. And that's how you create a door for yourself. The final thing on this is thinking about how to write your resume in that way as well. Now, your resume might be 4, 5, 6 pages long. You might have done a lot of different things, and that's great. But if you list absolutely everything, you're not going to show how you can solve someone's specific problem. You're going to show someone that you are overwhelmingly overqualified, or you can do a lot of different things, but not the one thing they are looking for extremely well. And so what this means is every single time you put yourself out there, say you end up in a job application situation, you need to tailor your resume to it. So coming back to what we talked about earlier, you need to identify the needs of that job. And then what you're going to do is, based on the top 3 skills that they are looking for, figure out which one of your work experiences ladder directly up to that, up to those skills. So for example, like if they're looking for someone who can manage a project and communicate effectively, and you've got a internships in events, internships in commercial partnerships, and maybe an internship in strength and conditioning coaching, perhaps remove the S&C coaching from your resume because it doesn't directly ladder up to this. Yes, it might have been a great experience and they were fun to work with and they gave you a nice referral and all that. That's great. But if I need a job done, I'm not going to be asking you to, show me how to do a deadlift correctly. Okay? What you need to do is be super focused and targeted with your resume so that you come across as exactly what they need, rather than vague and kind of coming across as I can do absolutely everything. Because the person who is specific and targeted and really hits a nail on the head, they're the one who's going to get the opportunity when it comes to your resume. So have a think about all right, the sports industry doesn't care what I've done, even though my resume might be 20 pages long. Sports industry cares about what I can do for them, which means it might only be 3 or 4 things that I can do really well. So what are those different things? Cool. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that flips your mind. You'll probably hear me repeat that forever and a day because it is the number one thing that gets people bogged down. And it is the number one thing that keeps people on a treadmill. I guarantee you, if you've been applying for jobs and you've applied for over 200 jobs and you haven't got anywhere, I guarantee you it's because you are trying to show people, this is what I can do, instead of this is what I can do for you. So if you can prove that you can solve problems, guarantee you will never struggle to find work again. Now, off the back of this episode, I want you to go and rewrite your resume. I want you to dissect the job descriptions. And next time you're out there networking with people, I want you to ask them, what challenges are you going through and how can I help? Hope this helps. If you need any more help, dive into the SportsGrad community, subscribe to the newsletter, and hopefully see you in the program if you really want to speed things up. Hey, last thing before you go. Everyone knows the sports industry is super competitive, so you might want to keep this to yourself. But every Monday, I send out an email called Shortcuts by SportsGrad. It takes 5 minutes to read, and it gives you everything you need to get an edge over other job hunters on a silver platter. Here you'll find exclusive job opportunities, networking events, and premium resources to get ahead. Again, it takes less than 5 minutes to read, and it's designed to help you get ahead and stay ahead. So if you want to receive the next one in your inbox, head to sportsgrad.com.au/newsletter. But as I mentioned, competition for jobs in sport is red hot, so perhaps keep this to yourself.